Sometimes, the people the world overlooks are the very ones God handpicks. Not because of their position, but because of their posture. In a world that celebrates titles, appearances, and strength, God chooses something different, something deeper, the heart. And nowhere is this truth more evident than in the story of David, the shepherd boy no one expected, who became the greatest king Israel had ever known. Let's go back to 1 Samuel 16. Israel needed a king. Saul had failed. So God sends the prophet Samuel to Jesse's house in Bethlehem. Jesse lines up his strongest, tallest sons. Samuel sees Eliab and thinks, "Surely this is the Lord's anointed." But God interrupts the thought. 1 Samuel 16 verse 7. But the Lord said to Samuel, "Do not look at his appearance or at his physical stature, because I have refused him. For the Lord does not see as man sees. For man looks at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart." One by one, Jesse's sons pass before Samuel. But God says no to every single one. Until finally, Samuel asks, "Are these all the sons you have?" And Jesse says, almost as an afterthought, "There is still the youngest. But he is tending the sheep." Even his own father didn't see his potential. But God did. David wasn't just waiting in the fields, he was being formed. While watching sheep, he learned courage. He fought off lions and bears. He worshipped. He wrote psalms. The field was David's training ground. Because God often prepares you in private, before he positions you in public. So when Samuel anoints David, the oil flows, not just over a boy, but over God's chosen one. Why David? Because David had something others didn't. A heart after God. Acts 13 verse 22 tells us, "And when he had removed him, he raised up for them David as king, to whom also he gave testimony and said, I have found David the son of Jesse, a man after my own heart, who will do all my will." David wasn't perfect. He would make grave mistakes. But he was teachable, humble, and always ran back to God. He had the kind of heart heaven honors. The kind God can trust. Before the crown came the confrontation. A nation stood paralyzed in fear as Goliath, a giant warrior, taunted them. But David, a teenager, untrained in battle, steps forward with just a sling. People mocked. His brothers dismissed him. Saul doubted him. But David says in 1 Samuel 17 verse 45, "You come to me with a sword, with a spear, and with a javelin. But I come to you in the name of the Lord of hosts, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defied." And with one stone, David defeats the giant. Not by human strength, but by divine confidence. David's story is proof. God does not call the qualified. He qualifies the called. You don't have to be the tallest, the smartest, or the strongest. You just have to be willing, obedient, surrendered. Maybe you feel overlooked right now, underestimated, stuck in your field, far from recognition. But what if your obscurity is your opportunity? Because when God is writing your story, no title, no platform, no approval from others is required. All he needs is your yes. Let this sink in. God raised a shepherd to be a king. He trained a boy in the pasture to lead a nation. He used the least likely to do the most unforgettable. So if you feel unseen, if your gift is hidden, if the world has overlooked you, remember this. God hasn't. He sees your faithfulness in secret. He hears your worship in the quiet. And in the fullness of time, he will bring you forward. Zechariah 4 verse 10 says, "For who has despised the day of small things? For these 7 rejoice to see the plumb line in the hand of Zerubbabel. They are the eyes of the Lord, which scan to and fro throughout the whole earth." You may be in the field now, but the crown is coming. Because when God uses the least likely, he reveals the greatness of his glory through your story. God bless you. Subscribe for more.